Okay, here we go. What's up, everybody? Let me shut this door. We are live. I want to welcome everybody to Third Eye Visions. I have a very, very, very interesting show for you all. It's basically an update as to what has been happening in the past. And I'm sorry y'all can't hear if y'all can hear me the way that y'all normally do, but I'm on a new computer, and we're going to be talking about some things that have been occurring in the Centers for the Blind. I did some shows on Louisiana Center for the Blind, some corruptions that have been occurring, and I recently ran across. Well, Bob has always been he's been on my channel before Third Eye Vision, but I ran across a story that I felt worth touching upon, and I wanted to share it with my audience and things of that nature. And I was glad to get Jennifer and Bob on here so they can talk about the corruptions that have been occurring I think in Stockton, California. Is that correct?
Yes.
And Bob was a member of Third Eye. Bob was a member of that organization for a minute, and he's going to touch on that. And then we're going to talk about the protests and things that have been occurring. And Jennifer had messaged me yesterday and said that not too many people have taken, or at least black people have taken this situation to heart or seriously, so that we can actually move this thing forward and what have you. So with that being said, I'm gonna let her mention what she has to talk about, and then I also have my guest Alita from Alita's Humble Life. Say hi, Alita.
Hey, everybody.
She's gonna be getting back into the swing of things. She had a little hiatus for a minute, and trying to get her to get, once you get everything straight, she'll be back with us with the YouTube family and sharing her thoughts. So with that being said, I'm gonna allow everybody, Bob and Jennifer, first of all, why don't you introduce yourselves and give people a little background as to what's going on and where y'all from and what have you.
All right, go ahead, Jen.
My name's Jennifer Gass. I've been blind the majority of my life, and I didn't know it before that, but I'm a community advocate here in Northern California in Stockton, which is pretty close to Sacramento. I've been a client, volunteer, staff, and now advocate outside of the Community Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired here in Stockton since 1999, and I've seen so many bad things, and they're just continuing to get worse and worse, and no one will listen to the blind. So we finally have people that are standing up, stronger together and pushing to make these much needed changes to make this a good place, a safe place, and a quality place for the blind again.
Okay. Bob?
Yep, my name is Bob Cole. I am a single dad in Modesto, California area. I actually acquired my first job at Community Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired at the end of last year as an assistive technology instructor. I worked there for 6 months, and I saw firsthand exactly what Jennifer has seen for years and what she's talking about, and that the administration, particularly the executive director, Elsie Hirata, are doing in mistreating clients and staff. They speak badly about the clients and staff. I saw a coworker who was bashed in front of me. He was belittled in front of me, and he was this coworker was also talked about behind his back, as well as clients. And I was supposed to be working remotely in the beginning, and the intent was to try to find a place to live in Stockton close to the organization until I saw how abusive it was there. And so they were expecting me to pay $100 or so round trip for Lyft rides to go up there once a week. And as the executive director told me, that was the sacrifice that I would need to make for the privilege of having a job as a blind person. And this is coming from a blind center, guys.
Wow.
Okay, cool. Check this out. Before we get deep into that, I want to allow Alita to listen just a little bit back. Let her let the audience know exactly who she is and what happens. Like she's against.
My name is Alita, and my channel is Alita's Humble Life. Me and Anthony have been friends for a very long time. It's like my brother. And this is an amazing opportunity to get in here and to learn some of the things that is going on in our community, because I am also visually impaired. I did not know they were having, you all were, facing these type of things. I haven't had any problems. I'm originally from Florida. I live in South Carolina, so I haven't been into the centers here, the Commission for the Blind. I haven't been in the centers here, but I am about to go in to do training. So, maybe I'll have a little bit of foresight myself going in, but I'm honored to be here today and to be able to hear the stories and actually develop some questions. So if it's okay, towards the end, I would like to ask some questions about, some of the things that we could do, as a community together, how we could band together and try to get some answers and some solutions to the problems that you all are facing.
Yep, absolutely.
So anytime you want to chime in too, you're just going to chime in. So with that being said, Bob, how long were you at the center? Again, let me backtrack.
I was there for 6 months, and I started questioning whether or not I wanted to stay at around the March 25th mark of this year. I was up there on a Friday, and at the end of the workday, I was going through a lot, and I've really never specifically mentioned everything that happened, but at the end of that day, the tears started rolling. I couldn't stop crying. I took a lift home, and while on that lift ride, which is with traffic and things, it was about an hour, something like that. My face went numb, and my lips were tingling. I couldn't really form sentences or anything. I got home. I reached out to my boy's mom and asked her if she could take them. And I told her I needed to go to the hospital. And a neighbor convinced me to call an ambulance as opposed to requesting a lift ride out to the hospital. And so about an hour and a half after leaving work, the ambulance came, and again, an hour and a half after leaving work, my blood pressure was at 216 over 100. The stress from that place, the way that they treat people, I mean, they have a lot of potential to do good in the community, but they need new leadership. The board, and Jennifer can talk about that here because she's had some experiences with one of the board members there. But the board is working. There's a lot of I guess you could say nepotism that goes on there, because the director was essentially handed the position, and she well, I won't use the exact word, but let's just say that it rhymes with witch and starts with a B. And at one point in her office, while bashing National Federation of the Blind, which she's a member of, she had said, remember, fill in the appropriate word, but she said, "I'm a witch and I've always been a witch." That's what she said. That's what the director said. Yep.
Okay, so allow me a little, take a little brief so that I can interject, because I want the audience to to stay with us and allow them to ask some questions and whatnot.
Yep.
I want to chime in back earlier and ask you. You say, well, first of all, what is it? Do you mind sharing the name of the center that you were referring to?
Absolutely. It's a community center for the blind and visually impaired in Stockton, California.
And how long have they been around?
They've been around since I think 1949.
Yes.
Okay. Have you heard of any bad dealings with this center prior to?
Jennifer can elaborate on that.
Okay, go ahead, Jennifer.
Yeah, I started out as a client there in 1999, and it was a little more tolerable then. There was a genuine, blind director. Didn't last very long. The operations manager, who was this horrible person, wormed her way up into a position of power. the board began to be totally walled off. Everything was only run through this operations manager. If a director started to put his thumb on her too much, she got him, kicked off by the board. And, this atmosphere of intimidation, of just, minimizing the blind and not allowing people to have any client-driven experiences because they were somehow threatening, any successful programs. Finally, we got rid of that person against the board's will by coming up with EEOC complaints. We had a psychologist, a job coach mediator, some clients, some staff all had the courage to put in letters about this person and stand up. And the board, instead of helping these individuals to recover from these horrible experiences we had there, including getting sexually harassed or assaulted and totally disregarded, just moved on, brought in the next worst thing. And then the one we have now, it was her underling, and it continues in this abusive vein. And we totally expressed that we would not have this person put into a position of power over us. She kept getting promoted as we brought forth, complaints about her behavior, her treatment of clients, her total lack of concern for the blind or anyone's input. And the board of directors continued to disregard us, installed her as the permanent director, although we wanted to be part of a search. And we are never allowed to be part of the process. We are not allowed to be on the board of directors. Our emails or concerns, they finally created a board email, but it goes into a black hole with the same board president that's been there over a dozen years. She just censors everything. She ignores us. She does not give any validity to our concerns. Basically, they think they're a private, independent nonprofit who doesn't have to listen to anyone, that they have services people can take or leave, crappy as they are, and that we don't matter as people. And we want this to change.
That was a mouthful. Right. Definitely. Hold on for a second. That was a lot to digest. Definitely. I've always been hearing about incidents that have been current at these Louisiana schools. I'm in Louisiana, but these centers for the blind. Alita, do you have anything to say before I ask you?
I find it quite atrocious the way that you all have been treated. And my question, I'm more than certain that you all have, but have you went through the complete chain of command of being able to try and remove this? Yeah, I don't even have a word. Have you went through the complete chain of command? And is there other sources or other resources or other entities that could be contacted that maybe can come in and help? As far as I may not know, but could the ADA be involved? Isn't that discrimination? Isn't that that? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Just for that. Okay, go ahead, Bob.
Sorry. I was just going to say, can I thicken the plot a little bit here? This is a favored vendor of the branch of Department of Rehabilitation in that area, and that's been literally long story there. Jen can attest to this, but my former Department of Rehab counselor, I found out that they were funneling people into that center. When I left that job, they tried to replace me with unqualified individuals who did not have any certifications or anything of that nature. And so even Department of Rehab is in cahoots with this place. It's a crazy situation.
Yeah.
Let me interject and ask you, either one of you, I'll ask Jennifer this question. You
can
agree. So for those who may join the live later or see this at a later time, just briefly explain to the sighted individuals what these centers are about, what they're supposed to do.
Okay. and then I'll explain what we've tried to do so far. But
Yeah.
these centers are intended at a minimum to provide rehabilitative training to the blind. They get paid by the state to teach people orientation and mobility, which is like cane and travel skills, independent living skills like managing your home, cooking, finances, Braille, adaptive technologies such as, screen readers on computers, smartphones, being able to navigate all the devices that can help make life as a blind person on par with a sighted person. And in addition, they are supposed to be supportive, provide social and recreational opportunities for people to mentor each other, to build each other up, to at least, and they often don't want to put funding or effort into anything that's not just raking in money from the state, but we know that it's critical to have like a support group, to have steps and introduction to blindness, ways to cope, ways to educate your family about the best way to help or not help. In a fully thriving center, there are programs available where people can step into leadership, can, volunteer and just support each other and create a network that lets the blind be the blind as we best know how to be.
Okay.
And that has been sadly lacking at this center.
And that's what I want to ask briefly. If you can explain in a couple of minutes, has that been the case at the center that you had gone to? And if that hasn't, what was the first thing? What was the first sign that you noticed that said, well, hey, this may not be, what's occurring here may not be right for me or right for other individuals who may come, or something to that effect, just briefly.
Okay, so briefly speaking, when I was hired on there, I was excited. I mean, it was my first job. And the director would pretty much kind of hold it over my head, well, we want you to have a job. We see the potential in you, this and that. And it's, she would make it clear about how hard it was to find work as somebody who was blind or visually impaired. Then finding that, because I had also facilitated support groups there, she verbalized that they needed to be worn down in the support groups because those who attend the support groups are, in her words, simple. This is somebody with a visual impairment, and this is how she feels about her own community. Hearing clients who are driven to work being referred to as high maintenance. All of those things. That's why I decided not to move up there. They would utilize the at will clause in their forms and things that not only can the employee be at will, but they can also let people go at will. And so it was kind of like holding a job over the head of somebody in the community where, our unemployment rate, sadly, is astoundingly high.
Okay.
Right.
Alita, you want to say something right quick?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, I guess it would be for both. I'm not sure if Jennifer was there for the video that I watched for the protesting. But how many community resources, or how many people have you reached out to that were showing the support that I seen in the video? There's a couple of people that I seen, and someone thanked a couple of people. And thank you for supporting us. Thank you for being there. So what in your community or that community in itself, what type of support have you seen? And then two, what type of outsourced support? What can I do also, even on the other side of the country? What kind of support can I give you, being that I'm visually impaired as well? And I'm just hearing this about this center. What can I do to be able to support you or help you in any capacity?
Well, thank you. We started small, with our family, friends, and members, people that have heard our concerns for years, trying to get people to have the courage to stand up and speak up, but it's been so atrocious. People finally had enough to risk, loss of services, intimidation, everything that's been held over their heads to speak up. And fortunately, we caught the attention of a wonderful local grassroots media group that helped us with some interviews, YouTube interviews. They did articles. They helped try to spread the word because we were using social media. We created a Stockton Blind Alliance page on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram to try to drive the message out there because
Oh, she went out.
Uh-oh.
We got it. I'm bringing it back. But while we're doing that, I want to ask you, Bob, briefly, why do you, because this is not the only time that I've heard this occurring. Why do you think that this type of let's say foul play or these types of situations are occurring at these centers for the blind? Do you think that because of the fact that they're visually impaired, that people feel that they have the right to take control of them, especially if they come in for a job or some sort? Briefly, tell me, why do you think that may be the case?
My personal opinion and speculation on this matter is that these centers typically make most of their income from Department of Rehabilitation and other agencies, donations, so on and so forth. And so they know how difficult it is to find employment as somebody who's blind. I mean, statistically speaking, our unemployment rate is 70% upwards, the last that I've seen. And so they know how hard it is. And so they also know that when somebody gets a job, there's that feeling of accomplishment, that sense of accomplishment. And they will literally use employment status as a weapon against these individuals, knowing that they could go from being paid and a bit above the level of SSI or other disability to living a bit more comfortably. And so, in my opinion, they use that and they weaponize that to control and manipulate people so that they can continue to just bring in their money, utilizing the skills of these people who, in many cases, don't even want to be there because of the abusive environment.
Right.
And speaking of that abuse, have you and don't mention any names, have you spoken with any of the other members there that may have told you something?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Now y'all mentioned, I think in the video that there was also some sexual harassment type of things going.
Yes.
Harassment type things going. Without going into detail, was that how was that? How was it handled? Just briefly expound on it, but don't expound on it if you may.
She just. Oh, there she goes. She came back.
I'm so sorry, I can't get it on.
I'm asking Bob about the sexual harassment situation without giving in too many details. He stated. Go ahead.
Yeah.
That was actually Jen's situation.
Yeah. So what I can say, the original operations manager I was speaking about before, I had numerous incidents as well as an employee and as a client, and other clients shared with me that the same individuals had problems. But I went to the operations manager and told her about being groped by this volunteer. And she basically sent him home for a few weeks and said, "Oh, don't do that." And then he was back like nothing. And to have this reinforced over and over again, like the female clients are basically whores or asking for it, was kind of the attitude.
Oh, wow.
And these people were much more valuable, because they were always kept. They were always defended. And I just had this reinforced to me again when a male board member came up screaming with his finger up in my face at the protest. There's been no apology. There's been no consequence to this individual. Apparently, they're more valuable than me as a client as well. And it's just, the whole cycle repeating again. We don't matter.
Right.
I have a question. I have a quick question. I was wondering, I'm more than certain that there's more incidences and situations like this probably all over the country. And I was thinking that, because I would love to have you on my show as well. Let me put it that way. And I'm a little bit more aggressive on the view of us being a community. So
Yes.
I'm the type of person that I would go hard with questions. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna ask questions. I'm going to virtually knock on some doors because I want to get some answers about what's going on and why we are being treated as if we are not even a second class citizen. That's ridiculous.
Right.
We've been treated that way in the workforce. I can say that myself because I am a visually impaired person. So I've had some discrimination and discrepancies of looking for a job and being I felt like, I can't work this job, or I've been told literally, you can't do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no way that you will be able to accomplish this job. And me, I have the attitude of, I don't care if I can't see clearly, but to get the job done, I know that I'm qualified and I'm also equipped to do it. So you can't tell me just because I don't have adequate sight that I can't accomplish the goals or the feats that's made for this job, to go to school for it and graduate and get that diploma, the certificate, the you know what I mean? So I have been told that. So I really would like to see what we can do about us reaching out to other people, other centers. If we have to make a group on Facebook with people that are doing, going through these type of things, us being able to speak louder. And like I said, I can virtually, whatever, if you put me in the right direction, I'm going to go and ask questions. If I'm going to get those answers, I'm not saying that because I don't know, but at least speak a little louder and try to shake some trees down. I would like to do that. So I'm opening my door, and I hopefully that you guys, we can keep in contact and do that together, because we have to get something done about this. And I really apologize, Ms. Jennifer and to Bob, that you guys had to deal with that. And as a community, we have to stick together, and that means reaching out and touching other visually impaired and blind people and saying, like, listen, if you have dealt with this, don't just close off and say, this happened, it'll be okay. It's just happening to me because I can't do this or I can't do that. Let's start to speak louder. And I thank you guys for coming and being able to speak up and saying what you feel, and let's get some things done.
Definitely.
Thank you. It means so much to have the support.
Piggybacking off Alika, Jennifer, I want to pose to you because I posed to Bob earlier. What, just briefly, if you can tell me, 2-3 minutes, what with the protests, because I know y'all have been protesting and things of that nature. What has been done in terms of trying to accumulate individuals so that you can bring awareness to what you have going on? Has the reception been adequate, or what's the situation?
I mean, there's been more community support than I hoped for, but it's slow in building. I mean, we tried to meet and negotiate with these board members and the director at the Blind Center for years. We finally went public with a letter to the editor last August 2021. We started protesting in May. One of the news channels came out at our second protest in May, but because the Blind Center wouldn't comment, they didn't run the story, and then we finally had another news channel run us in August. So we're still protesting here in December, but we did start a petition. We have over 330 signatures on that. That's one way. Anyone out there can add their name, comments, and support us, because every time someone signs that petition, it does send an email to the board at Community Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired, letting them know that they need to listen to the blind and work with us to make these much needed changes. So that change.org petition is one way people can help. We've tried to pressure the Department of Rehabilitation, which provides at least 2/3 of the funding, but they are being very evasive, saying they don't really deal with the inner workings of another organization or agency. But it does bleed over because they are placing blind people there as employees. They are placing
Exactly.
clients there in harm's way,
Yep.
knowing full well everything we have been telling them. But they just keep moving to other locations and changing counselors and passing the buck. And it's hard because it's a private, independent nonprofit. There's not really anyone over them. We've gone to the board, the director passed them. There's no mother organization. So that's what, we've gone to the city council, the board of supervisors for the county. I mean, we're spreading awareness everywhere, but who can rein them in? I mean, maybe the California Department of Education. I don't know. I mean, there are students, but nobody will make them listen and change at this point.
Let me briefly say that what you all are doing, and I know you have something to say about what you all are doing. That's the first step. You have to continue to stay with it, regardless of who you may not think is on your side of the weapon. Because I ran across this, so you never know. So if that doesn't work, and continue to do it in the social media realm, and let that take legs. And anyone out there who like Alita wants to do your story, anybody else wants to do your story, people pick up on it like that. So believe me, it's been seen some way, one way or another. So I want to commend y'all on that. Bob, go ahead.
All I was going to say is, protest-wise, I think that the upcoming protest is going to be number 32 weeks in a row that this has been going on. And the main response that we've gotten is a board treasurer getting in Jen's face, not announcing himself and pretty much shaming her, or thus far they've called the police twice because peaceful blind protesters, some of whom are registered clients, are so threatening to them inside of the center. Evidently, it's been stated that, correct me if I'm wrong, Jen, evidently it's been stated they have their doors locked because they're afraid that we're going to come in. And also, there's rumors going around that we're trying to shut them down, which is farthest thing from the truth.
Right.
But they've started a smear campaign. They've tried to say that we're just nothing but disgruntled troublemakers. And the reality is that a lot of people.
What do you say briefly? What do you say about when people say that? Y'all just disgruntled. Y'all have anything else to do? Y'all just make because there are a lot of individuals that I've spoken with have had same situations that have occurred at these centers, but some of them have been kind of shy about coming out. So, in 1 minute, just tell me, why do you think that's? What do you say?
So, not everyone can be there. Financially, time-wise, we're standing up for those that can't be there. But how many disgruntled former clients, employees, volunteers, and community stakeholders can there be before it's the business that's the problem and not the people? Right. They've had seven employees quit in the last year, blind and sighted, and like we said before, the employment rate is so low for the blind. What does it say when a blind person leaves a job with no job to go to because the environment is so bad?
Right.
Just troublemakers.
Yeah, go ahead, Lisa.
And I mean, you guys are keeping up with that. You guys are record keeping of the people that are leaving and the reasons why and the people that are behind it. And like I said again, I truly, honestly believe that this is good, but we're literally gonna have to organize something online, Facebook, I don't care, Instagram. It's gonna have to be in a group setting, group notion that we have together, form a name. We come and meet every other week, whatever we have to do in order to start to build and listen to other people and start to put these different stories out, because this is what Anthony does, and if there's more, we're gonna have to pull them in. Oh, so this is your story, those type of things. So I mean, if we in that sense of how we've been treated, because I just thought about it when I was telling you guys about that. The lady telling me what I can't do, that's a form of discrimination. You can't tell me what I can't do. You can't tell me what type of career form to go into, because you don't know if I can handle that or not. You don't know if I'm capable of that or not. And you don't have to be cited for what I wanted to do. And I was completely discouraged. I literally was. I was discouraged and I didn't want to do anything else. You know what I'm saying? And I'm that type of person where if I'm discouraged, I'm just going to let it go. But we can't sit down like that. We can't. We really can't sit down like that. We really can't let people make decisions for us because of a disability. That's why I said, how is not the ADA, how can they not come in when you blatantly, verbally discriminate against us, saying that what we can't do, or you know what I mean, you blind, so you have to keep this job because you ain't got no other job to go to. You can't make no money if we don't employ you. So that's telling us that we can't go into the workforce. Nobody's going to hire you, and you have to stay here. And due to that, you're going to have to put up with how we treat you. That's bonkers. That is bonkers.
That's definitely.
So,
That's definitely. I echo that definitely. That's why I'm glad that y'all came. And as we come to a conclusion, for those individuals who are afraid to speak out, don't be afraid no longer, because I can definitely say that these are not disgruntled individuals. I don't know them personally, but like I said, I've heard stories of this happening. So it can't be people just complaining about it. It has to be something that's going on within these centers that has to be brought to the light. So with that being said, Jennifer, give them the name of the I'm gonna put it in the link. I'm gonna have the link put it in the description. Give them the name where they actually can go to fill out the
we have a Stockton Blind Alliance Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. The link is available there for our change.org petition against Community Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired in Stockton, California.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna put the link in the description and everything.
I'm gonna definitely sign that as well, Jennifer.
Thank you so much.
We have a couple
much appreciated.
3 minutes left, so I'm gonna let each one of y'all take a minute and say what y'all have to say. Then we'll close this bad boy. And y'all, whoever out there see this later on, man, don't just look at it. Share this. You know what I'm saying? Bring awareness. I'm quite sure you know. So if you go into these centers, you know somebody or know something that's going on, because everything ain't all good. Right? I mean, I know they show you how to be independent and things of that nature, but sometimes when people feel that they have the upper hand, that's just human nature. It's unfortunate that they'll try to take advantage of it.
And I know a lot of people just they basically hinder on, or they lay on the fact that discrimination is basically just black and white, but it's not. You can be discriminated on different type of things, and us being discriminated on because of a disability is against the law. It is the law that we are protected because of the disability that we have. And so that is I'm going to say that for myself and us, all of us, that is the message that we're trying to get out, that you can't discriminate on us because of a disability and the fact that we have this disability. We are going to fight that. We're going to make sure that somebody is accountable and removed from this position because of the treatment and the even. I'm still super blown away from the sexual harassment that you had to deal with, and nobody would come to your aid, because if it was a sighted person, Jennifer, they would have been fired immediately.
Yep.
But because you don't have but they feel as though you don't have a voice and you're not going to say anything, or nobody's going to hear you because you're unsighted. That's the reason why I was able to be, continued or not. He wasn't fired. He came back. So we have a voice, and we're going to speak aloud and say how we feel. We're going to get some things rolling. Definitely, again, Jennifer and Bob, get my information from Anthony, and we can definitely do a show again. Like I said, I'm a little bit more aggressive, so I'm probably going to say the things that Anthony will not say. But me, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say that they're incompetent. Basically, they're incompetent, and they're money hungry, and they want the money for the establishment. And those things are the reason why they are going the way they are. So contact me, and I'll definitely do a show with you guys.
We're actually connected on Facebook, Aletha, so I'll message you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Bob. Yep.
All right.
Not a problem.
Do you have any final words?
Yeah, I just wanted to say you know, I quit working at Community Center for the Blind in 2017 because I was ground down to nothing. I was a human shield between staff and administration, between clients and administration. I had to leave. It wasn't even worth my time, but to get myself well, I knew I could help better from the outside, and I'm not going to be that person that doesn't speak up anymore. And seeing everyone else harmed has given me that strength to be someone who speaks up, and I will do it for anybody I can. You know, I don't want to see this happen to another person to be damaged by this place, and anything I can do to support someone, I will.
Okay.
And the blind matter. All lives matter.
Yes.
Exactly.
We love you and thank you for your support.
No problem. Anytime I can help y'all hit me up, and we'll get this thing rolling. This is not the end of it. This is the beginning of something that I like to be a part of. So this is something that's going to be, touching everyone. So with that being said, I want to thank you all for tuning in to Third Eye Visions, where we motivate the blind, stimulate your mind, and welcome all kind. I also want to thank Alita from Alita's Humble Life. I want to thank Bob. What's your YouTube channel?
That blind guy.
That blind guy. And Jennifer, what you doing out there? Where they can find you at?
I mean, I have the Stockton Blind Alliance pages, but I'm mostly under Beat Baller.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Well, that's it,
And I'm
y'all.
Alita's Humble
Check it out.
Life on
Check it out.
TikTok
Share
and
it.
on Facebook. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just saying I'm Alita's Humble Life on YouTube and TikTok. You can follow me there. And Facebook as well, Alita Donaldson.
That's so
This ain't
nice.
the last of it. Y'all be cool and good luck. And I'm gonna put the links in the description. Love y'all.
Thank you.
Love you. Thank you.
All right.
Have a wonderful day.
Yep.
You too.
Take care.
Thank you, hon. Bye-bye.